12 minutes past 6. Thank you for all being here. Everybody's attending. That's great. We have some good news. We have a potential new member, Sarah Ziedzik, who is a teacher at Woodstock Academy and has been the person who has brought all the students to work at the Academy, would like to join the committee. Excellent. So I said she should send a letter immediately, if not before, to the first selectman. I didn't think we'd have any objection because she says she also has a lot of young friends who don't live in Woodstock but would love to come and help on work days. And I thought, wow, absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to hug her, but I was being socially distant, but we'll take it,
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
absolutely.
She's really enthusiastic. She loves when she's down there. She was dragging all that stuff with the kids the other day, and she had on a dress,
And flip-flops.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she's great. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, treasurer's report. Jesse, thank you for sending me a copy. Do you want to go through it for everybody else?
Sure. I was going to try to share it, but it wasn't working, so I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
And tell me, obviously this is new, so if there's information that you want that I'm not telling you, please let me know. So our budget for right now for the Fund 10, for the year to date is $1,584.95. So that's what we spent on mostly the DME mowing, the Bartlett tree, and then the garden markers. Those were our expenses. And so we have one more invoice that we haven't paid, the $55 for the most recent mowing, but that's the amount for our current Fund 10. And for the Fund 22, our year-to-date spending with all the driveway and drainage, that was the $7,743. And because we had a total of 8,000 donations or deposits, we have a balance now of 2,811. So we got I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but we got Oak Tree Molding made a donation of $500. So that I'm not sure where that one came from.
I can tell you
through Andy, didn't it? That was
Okay.
the couple that was on our
Okay,
last
that's what I
week's Valley
thought.
Walk, right?
it's what's the name? Oak Tree Molding?
Correct. Yes.
Like moldings around a door, that kind of.
Yes.
Is there a name on there?
There wasn't. I can double check the check, but it was just the business. But I can.
I'll tell you
double check.
why. This lady was very timid, and she talked to me at one of the walks and said she'd like to make a donation, but she was really quiet. And so I was enthusiastic. And then next thing I knew, I think I was up in Maine, and my phone rang in my truck, and I answered it, and it was her. She said, I took my husband down, we're going to make a donation. And then they sent the check, and I don't know her name. And but you know what, Philippa? I'm pretty sure her name is going to be on that original list of walkers.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
That went, but I don't have, I don't have that list.
Recognize it, Andy?
I think I would. Yeah, yes, I think I would. But yeah, I could look up Oak Tree Molding, but if I were going to write a little note, dear.
Yeah.
She had my number, and I don't know how. I don't know how she had my number.
Maybe she will be.
Okay. Here.
But I mean, I'm sure her name must be on the check. So we could ask the town hall.
Yeah, we could ask the town hall.
Treasurer,
When I
yeah.
look at the check, which they sent a copy of, I think it was just the company, but I'll double check.
So Jad, she said, we'd like to make a little donation. And I thought, well, that's cool. Whatever it is, that's great. I was very thankful. She wanted to help maybe plant that bank. And then they sent a check for $500.
Yeah.
And it was designated for that bank, I believe, so that I had gone and bought what came to almost $200
Wait, I
of
found it.
grasses and daylilies that we planted, if you remember. And I submitted those to the town hall today. And I let them know that it should come out of that 500, but I wasn't sure whether the 500 was in a special designated area or where it was, but it was part of what they had given the 500 for. And I know that Andy and I both donated bulbs. So they planted 160 bulbs on that bank when they came in and did that work. So that should look
Wonderful.
beautiful in the
It should
spring.
look
It's
great.
wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. And with
They live
related
on
to the
7
donation,
Polebridge Road.
Say it again, Chad.
They live on 7 Polebridge Road.
They're practically my neighbors. They must be right in that first house there.
Yep. It doesn't give a name though. The only name that it shows is, it doesn't show a name.
Okay, 7 Pole Bridge. All right.
But it's
I'll
it
look
says
at the
Oak Tree
check.
Molding LLC. And that's where they're at. That's what the address they give.
Okay.
And then they have another address that's in Johnston, Rhode Island. I mean, I'm sorry, Chester, Connecticut.
All right.
I'll double
Andy?
check the
It
check.
would be nice to write them a particular, specific thank you letter. Do you want to do that? Do you want to find out who they are and I'll write the letter? How do you want to do that?
Oh, I'll write a handwritten note.
I can get you some of that of the Arboretum paper because Jean gave me a box of Arboretum paper and envelopes.
Yeah, we could do an official one, but I'd like to just write a nice little
Well,
handwritten note.
well, that's right. I mean, but you could write it from all of us on Arboretum paper with your own
Oh, I
personal
see what you're
comments.
saying. Yeah, okay. Yep,
That'd be okay?
sure.
Great.
Maybe I can't get it done before I leave though, and I'd like to get something done. You know,
Okay.
I'm leaving. So
When are you leaving?
Sunday,
Okay. Yeah,
6
because the
a.m.
town hall's closed tomorrow, so we can't even pursue finding out who they are
We'll
until
find out.
Monday.
I'll double
can
check
find
the
out.
check.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
what-
sorry, go ahead, Jessie.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to note that the town hall did send me an email saying that for donations, because there's no bank account connected with the Arboretum anymore, that on any of when we're accepting donations, we need to ask for them to make it out to the town hall, but then put, the Arboretum in the memo line.
Okay,
Because if it's made out to the Friends of the Arboretum, they won't be able to accept it anymore. Does
When
that
did that happen?
I'm not sure. It seemed like she was going to accept, this this donation from the molding place, but she wasn't going to after that.
Okay, now we have also this donation of $1,500, an anonymous donation. So we can't thank that person, right?
No.
Not
Does
if it's
anybody know the
anonymous.
identity of the anonymous donor?
Oh.
No. So we can maybe try to get
In
some
bigger-
more information, but
Well, when someone says anonymous, there's a reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
Right, okay.
want to be recognized.
go.
I would say.
Any other treasurer's report comments? I had a phone call with Chad after the last meeting, and we had talked about really trying to keep the remaining funds for trees rather than for any more plantings, except for the mowing stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that you're both okay with that, Andy and Jessie. I mean, we are an
Yes.
arboretum and we really should be
Yeah.
focusing on our trees.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. I just wanted, do you have anything to add to that, Chad?
No?
No, okay. Okay, moving on, new business. Workday, we had about 30 students that came down and worked like little beavers, moving wood, planting bulbs and raking those leaves. They did a fantastic job, but of course the trees hadn't all come down, particularly the oaks, so they're still coming down. They left about 12 piles of leaves because they ran out of time, but my Rigney crew went down with me and we raked up all the piles and took
Oh,
them
you
down.
did?
Yeah, we did them all. And then they jumped in them.
Oh, good.
So we have the black plastic on the swamp completely covered with leaves now. And then the wall at the end, which we pushed back because the high school students had kind of left it not over the wall. So we managed to push it over the wall and add more leaves down there. But it's not immaculate. You had suggested, Andy, that maybe just by mowing, Mitch would pick up or get rid of the leaves, or do we ask him to do a blowing? Or
No, don't ask him. They're not enough for him to blow.
okay, because he
I
had
mean,
sent me an email.
around the edges, if someone else wants to go look, but you can definitely mow that.
Okay,
Right, Chad? I mean, he's got a big mower. I would say 95% of the leaves are gone. That's not that many leaves.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Yeah, but you would cut grass with leaves in it. I mean, I do.
I do, but what I don't understand the issue. What's the issue?
the issue is we got a message from Mitch saying he normally does the winter preparation, which involves leaf blowing.
Okay.
Did we want him to do that? We
How
said,
much does that cost?
I don't know. Treasurer, did you have any sense of what we paid last year on that? Do you have a
So-
record of that?
I do, but I can look and I can get back to you. Yeah.
Okay, that would be great.
But I remember he said he prepared the beds and we went down and we couldn't see anything. And, it was expensive. So I think I'm right that those kids raked, Philippa, you saw it. You did the rest of it.
I was raking.
There are leaves on the edges.
There are leaves
like
on the
like the-
bed.
The
But
Pachysandra beds aren't all cleaned out.
No,
The grass itself has been raked. So he's going to get down there with his big blower and charge us $500 for blowing. And there's nothing that requires that. I would ask him to mow it as it is.
okay. That was the question. He had asked us whether we wanted him to do what he normally does. And I had told him
What do you think?
that we
you
had
wanna
a
spend-
work group. I'm sorry, Chad, go ahead.
Do you want to spend $500?
Oh,
No,
it's going to be more than that, Chad. He
Okay.
charged, I got upset because he said they prepared the beds, whatever that meant. And then they blew all the stuff off the black plastic. I mean, everything they did was a few steps backwards instead of forward. And then they charged us a lot for it.
Well,
That's
I
why
think that, ultimately we got to define what Mitch is going to do for us, because I think that it left unsupervised gets very expensive.
Well, I think what we've done is say mow.
mow bi-weekly, not mow every week, not mow when you feel like it, but mow every other week is
Every
what we
other
said.
week. And then, we went down there and weed whacked, and it wasn't perfect, but it was fine. And then we put that black plastic over that real long stuff that my weed whacker wouldn't cut. I think we're golden. I don't think that we need him to do anything else. Jesse,
Okay.
if you look back, you'll see we get in my mind, a very questionable bill because it's so
Yeah.
many hours and then it's so expensive. And then when we get down there and look, it doesn't seem like one equals what we see doesn't equal what they say they did. And I'm not saying they're being deceptive. I'm just saying I don't think we need to spend that money.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody agree on that? So I will communicate that to him, that we still want him just to mow. How many more times does he need to mow? Because the grass is going to stop growing pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one or two at
One,
most.
maybe.
One.
Yeah.
So mow
mean,
one more time.
I'm not mowing my lawn this weekend.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
And the grass has grown a little, but doesn't need to be cut.
No.
I wanted to mow mine once more before the winter, just so that it's down low, but that's it.
Yeah.
So maybe ask him to do one more and then that's it for the year.
Yeah.
Well, we
Okay.
can just play it by ear. I mean, we don't have to. I mean, if we need something else, we can. But just authorize a mow. That's it.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Okay,
I
very
think,
well.
yeah.
We'll do that. Okay, do we need enough, well, we have a work day coming up Monday. What
Are
should
you
we
gonna
have?
do that? Do you want me to respond to Sarah?
Sure,
Okay.
I'll be there, but what do we want them to do? There'll probably be more raking.
Leaves out of the beds.
What's that?
Yeah, and that's, when I went down and I looked and I thought, okay, just the edges. Yeah, but that can amount to a lot. They put a tarp down and rake everything out onto tarps. I think that would be awesome.
Okay, I'll have them do that.
And
She
they
she
got
said
a
it would
bed.
be around 10 kids.
Great.
They got one
So-
bed done. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Chad, we have one Widowmaker branch that I didn't have a long enough rope to do anything about it. I don't know if you have a chance to just to look at it and come up with a suggestion. As you'll go in at the north entrance, walk down the hill, and it's up. I don't know what kind of a tree it is, but it's up on the right-hand side.
The
between
south
us and Mary
entrance.
Lou's house, and it's a big branch that's caught up in
It's
a
just
tangle
this-
of branches. It's
It's
right
like a
before the willow.
straight big branch straight up, and you just look at it and go, where the heck did it come from? It's just kind of hanging up
The
there
north entrance, the one,
by Mary Lou's,
okay.
right where the epimedium is, all in there.
Yeah, it's sort of right opposite the lower yew tree.
Okay,
It's on the right-hand side of the path down.
okay.
And it's at an angle, and the group of kids, including Noah, Jesse, took a look at it and said, what are we going to do? How are we going to get this down? And one of the girls said, I'll climb the tree. And we all said, no, you won't. And then I had a bit of rope, but it wasn't long enough. So I'm not sure what to do. If you have an idea, I mean, I'm sure with those kids on Monday, they could bring it down if there was a safe way of doing that.
A good wind.
I think it
Right.
came down with the snow because it was dragging down with all that snow. It was so heavy on those leaves. I mean, on
Okay.
those branches.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, but it's definitely dangerous.
Yeah.
Good. I will take a look at that.
I would appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. So the kids on Monday should rake the beds, rake up anything else that they can, pull it down. Do the same that they did before. There's nothing new to plant. We still have that dead tree that has not been replaced. I don't even remember what kind of tree it was, but the little one. Do you remember what kind it was, Andy?
No, I didn't know what it was. Right where the heptacodium is, tiny little tree on the right. Was it a coral bark?
There was a coral bark maple there.
That's what it was.
That's the one. That it's dead, and Jean had already talked with them to replace it. They said they were going to replace it. It hasn't been replaced yet.
Okay.
And it was sitting there dead, and now it broke off. I mean, it's only about that big around, and
Okay.
it just snapped off.
All right.
The other,
Can it be planted now? It can't be planted now, can it?
I mean, if somebody wants to get one, you could. Deciduous trees, it's fine to plant this time of year.
well, I will talk with him then. I'll give him a call and see if what he's planning on doing. The other tree that Andy, you and I looked at was that maple, the one that was beautifully arched over, but now looks like it may be. I don't know.
I love that tree too.
Chad,
know,
if you
right
take
as-
a look at it and see if we can save it. I don't know. I think the snow pushed it down more. The main
Something-
trunk looks like it's split more.
Maple,
The Japanese maple that was bent right over and kind of laying on the ground, but it was alive, but it was really pretty.
yeah.
It looks like right at the bend that the bark is dead all the way around, and it might have just snapped a little bit more with the snow. It doesn't look good.
Okay.
I said maybe we'll wait till spring and see, maybe it is, but
Yeah,
it
no.
looks pretty, it's hard to tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
The other
just-
thing that I wanted to ask Chad, that beautiful over by the other entrance, that what is it called? Dawn Redwood?
Yeah.
It has two snapped off branches, which is really sad because it was so perfect. They're up a little high, so I didn't think it would be good to just twist those things off.
I'll look at it.
It seems like they need to be, I mean, for me, I would just rip them off at my house, but I know that's not the right thing to do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I said, it's sad though, because that tree was perfect.
It'll be perfect again.
Oh,
It
just,
get scattered a little bit before.
the snow did, that was when it snowed.
Character.
What's that?
It adds character, you know, like
Okay.
tattoos. No.
Is the road to the White House for one of your girls? The
Yeah.
sign, one of them? Oh, that's,
Believe it or not, this is Philippa's granddaughter and my daughter.
oh, this is what they have to do to get there?
Fiona Rigney and Magnolia Hart.
Oh,
I'll show.
And that's their plan for how they're gonna get there?
It was just a project that they did.
That is so cool.
See
It
that,
is cool.
Philippa? I don't know if you can see, but this
Road
is-
to the White House. Yeah.
what's
You've got
this?
powerhouse women, the two of them, huh?
No, Fiona Rigney and Magnolia Hart.
They'll be co-presidents. Absolutely.
This is
So
their
cute.
work, your granddaughter's work.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of writing.
I saw the three of them out there at the election with their signs.
Yes,
Wonderful.
they got
That's-
called baby killers.
That's awesome.
very cute.
Beautiful work.
Mhm.
Sorry, I had to go out and get the puppy. I kicked her outside because she was making so much noise, and then she was getting frightened by the barking, so I come back in again. Did you decide anything about the tree that you were discussing, Andy? The redwood?
Chad's gonna take a look at it.
Yep, we're gonna take a look at it and do a
Okay, thank you.
walkthrough.
Thank you very much. Okay, I sent out a copy of a possible letter for Jean. Did everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes,
Is that okay?
yes.
Do you want me to add anything?
No, it was perfect.
It was? Okay, I haven't mailed it yet. I wanted to get your feedback that it was okay because I'm sort of speaking for all of us.
Yes.
Okay, I will send that out. Using money to pay an arborist. Chad, this was something that you had talked about, instead of relying on people for volunteer stuff all the time, and you who have so much else to do, feeling obligated with all those things. I mean, we've already asked you to do 5 things, you know, in this.
Well, I don't mind doing some, but I just can't do
Right.
it all.
Right,
So,
understand that.
I just simply think that we need to just find somebody that's willing to work with us, that, you know, maybe could help us out when we need it, and we pay them for it.
Right,
And I would be willing to, you know, meet with them, tell them what we wanted, you know, get what I could get out of the guy. And I think we as an Arboretum could offer publicity, which would not be my forte, but ladies that are eloquently written, you know, could help somebody out. So I would like us in the new year to come up with a dollar amount, and I know we have obligations elsewhere, but if we had a dollar amount, and then we all maybe met at the Arboretum and, you know, talked about some things that are our concerns, and then I could show you things that are my concerns, you know, we could make a plan, kind of, okay, this is what we can get for this amount of money. This is our priority. Rather than just being reactive, I think it would be nice to be a little proactive.
Mhm. I would
I
agree.
know we don't have a ton of money to spend, but I think every year if we spent some amount of our budget on trees, you know, and made a relationship with somebody other than, you know, me, because of the conflict of interest, I think it could benefit him or her or us.
Mhm.
Do you have anyone in mind, Chad?
Well, I have some thoughts. Definitely nobody that we've used before, really. I mean, I'd like to use Bartlett, but they're, you know, super expensive. I mean, I'd be interested to talk to him, but before I have, before I talk to somebody though, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want some, just because I know you don't make any money looking at jobs, you only make money doing them. So I want to be able to say to somebody that this is what we're looking to do, how much, and then get 3 bids and then bring them back to the table and say, this is what I found and this is how I feel about this guy. This is how I feel, I'm willing to do that all on my own and, definitely not make any calls until and we all agree.
Right. My question would be, and because we've had you to ask when we need things done or want things done, it's so unpredictable what we would want them to do. Like how can you say something like, well, usually 2 trees come down and we often need something planted and then we need pruning and it's hard. How do you narrow it down?
Well, I think that we do that ourselves. I mean, we already know that there's some things. I mean, pruning the crab apples, there's some storm damage work, but we've never had, I've been a part of this Arboretum board for 10 years and we've never had like a budget for tree work. And it's
No.
something that I've kind of felt like,
No.
so
Where's
we're
your
always
doing?
going to have storm damage, and that's why I kind of like the Friends of the Arboretum Fund kind of as a little nest egg. But we have to start spending some money going forward on our trees, not just reacting to a storm or reacting to a broken branch. I'd like to say, we have to balance what we use volunteers for and what we use professionals for. And caring for the big trees is something that I think we need professionals for.
Oh, I agree.
Are there people at like UConn, like students, or that might have an interest in doing it as well?
I mean, we've had like arborists in the Arboretum days where I've invited companies to come and do stuff. There's always going to be that, and there's going to be opportunities for us to do that. More what I'm talking about is every year we have a budget, and every year the budget goes, well, 3/4 of it goes to mowing the lawn and blowing the leaves and pulling weeds.
And that, I think we've agreed that has to stop because we've been talking about that. I mean, I'm probably the biggest complainer about that needs to stop. And we need to do a lot of that ourselves. Are you thinking we come up with a number? Like we have, let's say you invited the people. Could we say something like we have $2,500 a year
Exactly.
for an
We have
arborist?
$2,000 a year to spend. Okay, well, these are the things I see. Like I'll give you an example. We have this wonderful European spruce that if you walk down the trail of I guess would be the south entrance past the beach, it's a tree that stands there and it's got 3 leaders. It's very pinnate, but it's super tall. And back in the very beginning, Bill took me on a walk and we talked about some things. I'm like, that tree needs to be cabled. those 3 leaders, like if one of them breaks off, that whole tree is going to change in its original planting. Something like that, to me, that would be something that we could say, okay, well, do we want to do this? Get somebody in there that gives us a price. Okay, this is what we're going to do this year to safen up and preserve this tree, to do what we can to preserve this tree. I mean, we're always going to have some fallout. I mean, if $2,500 was our budget, maybe we spend $2,000 and keep $500 in the kitty kind of through the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, if we need to spend it, how government works, we'll just spend it. We'll figure something else out. We'll buy a tree. If we need it, we'll have it.
I like that. I guess my question is, I don't know any arborists. I know you,
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
hard.
that's the
to
benefit
imagine.
too, is I could get somebody that might not even be an arborist, but because I could supervise and tell him what we want, that he could basically work underneath my license.
So you would have to trust that person, not some big guy with a chainsaw.
Well, I would interview. I would
Yeah.
would
Oh,
do a
Awesome.
vetting process, let's say.
Do you have time to do that, Chad?
Well, I mean, it's what I
When you're
wanted
making a
to
commitment,
do,
when we know you don't
since
have
I
time.
got to the point where I can't do all the work, and it's a conflict of interest for me or my company to do
Right.
anything at the Arboretum. I want to be on the Arboretum board more than I want to work for the Arboretum, if you know what
Okay.
I'm saying. So yes, I'm willing to do that.
Okay,
And I don't
Well,
think it's a big deal. I think that
I
we
liked
just
the
need to-
sound of you saying having a day where you had the people come.
I do too, but that's a lot to ask. And we've asked the local people already a couple of times. And if we're gonna do that, we need to be able to, we need to be able to give them the recognition or the publicity that they would want. And right now, every tree company is super busy. Nobody's got time to volunteer anytime.
right. I think we need to pay for the service, Chad. I don't think we
Yeah.
should be asking people at this time, as you say, everybody is super busy to try and get somebody to come and cut trees down. Everybody's saying that they just can't get anybody. They can't get anybody. And I don't think we should be asking them and making them feel guilty that they're not volunteering. I think we get some money. It's in our budget.
Oh, definitely pay.
We should
Yeah.
pay them.
But we
And
wanted to pay Chad until we realized we can't.
Right.
That was our solution, was to pay
We
Chad.
this coming year came up with, said, okay, this is our budget. This is what we can afford to spend on trees. Then I say we go down in the Arboretum and we make a plan of what is most important to us. And we ask appropriate questions and vet a couple of companies and see what we can get.
It's really a change of direction for us. I mean, I'm relatively new, but it is an Arboretum.
It is, yeah.
And to be spending in it, I say it too much, but it's just annoyed the hell out of me when we're spending $2,500 or $3,000 for questionable hours with Mitch and his crew. Yeah, I watched a guy weed whack one day. I was like, God damn, I can do 10 times more than what this guy is doing. And it was hours and hours and hours that we were paying for. And it just made me crazy to spend to spend the bulk of our budget on the grass.
And it's a town property.
Yeah.
The
And they should be doing it. Yeah.
If-
So what?
Yeah, if you pay someone, it also gives the publicity for it. It shows the town that this is a valuable part of the town and we should do what we need to do to preserve it.
Why are you whining? I see you.
So I say that we need to come up with a number, of what we can afford comfortably, not to strap us. I just want to also share Mitch's businesses are probably going to sell in the next year or two. So it's something that if we start to shy away from, and we can more utilize volunteers to rake leaves and weed whip and pull weeds than we can to do tree removal.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree.
So
So are we all agreed on that we're going to do that in the spring? Because we don't have a December meeting. We had in the past had said no bother with a December meeting because there's
Right.
nothing happening in the Arboretum in December.
Okay.
Unless there are trees falling all over the place and we have to have, people for that. But otherwise, we would be going to a meeting we're going to go to January or February. When do you want the next meeting?
I think we should talk in January because that's
January. Okay,
we have to have the budget ready.
right.
Right.
Okay, so we will not have a December meeting. We'll go to a January meeting. And at that meeting, we will talk about the budget with a real emphasis on it. Money for trees.
Oh, sounds good. I like that ring, money for trees.
Mhm.
I do too. That's good. But another question that I've brought up in the past, because whether Mitch's business is going to be sold or not, it seems to me that we wouldn't want an apprentice, someone who's learning their trade, working on the trees in the Arboretum. You know, they've got to know what they're doing. I mean, obviously, it's something valuable. We don't want it ruined. Having said that, aren't there people who are starting out mowing? You know, like young guys who are trying to get a business up and running. And I know that Gene always asks other companies and asks for bids, and everybody's always higher than Mitch. But then it seems like he always has a way to try to make it more than, you know, by adding these extras.
But we can control that, Andy. And I just feel like we've had him all along.
Yeah.
And if he's only going to be working for another year, I don't think there's any reason to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. But
No.
there's got to be somebody out there who's looking for work, not these big companies that you see always everywhere.
But we could keep our eyes and ears open for someone that we could choose, you know, if in a year he does finish his business.
And we could even choose somebody else in the spring if we decide when we're assigning monies that we don't have enough to have him mow as often as he's been mowing, you know? I mean, that's
He's
another
always
decision.
been cheapest, but like, that's where I agree with Andy. He is dollar for dollar mowing, he's the cheapest. But when you start to add up the other charges, you know, they kind of offset the cheapness on the mowing,
Oh,
if you know what I'm saying. So I think that we should, you know, like, I think that we should talk about this in January too, as far as
Right.
maybe it would be worth getting some other bids from some other companies. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if we vetted some companies, I think it's important to remember that if we were to help them as far as publicity,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a benefit to them, you know, like.
oh, we would win and they would win too, because we, you know, if that were part of the deal, we would advertise. Or I don't know who of you looks at Woodstock Proud. You know, I'm so not a social media person,
Mhm.
but I do look at them, and I see you in there sometimes. You know, people ask for different things. I mean, that's another resource, and I think we talked about that, Philippa, about maybe trying to find someone to come on the committee to just try to, you know, talk about ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
see who would come. And then, you know, Sarah the other day said, what do you have to do to be on this committee? She said, how much time do I need to commit? And is there any financial obligation? So, you know, I just sold it as, oh, no, none of that, you know, but she said, I have all these people who I know would come with me if I wanted to come down here to work. That's what, if we could find more people like that,
Mm-hmm.
volunteer groups, you know, we can't get these master gardeners, and I don't mean the garden club, but, you know, the master gardeners as a group. Hell, come to the Arboretum. You know, if we could cultivate those relationships and get a nice work group every now and then. Look at what the kids accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They were great.
So,
Particularly Noah. He's a great leader as far as that goes. He was
Oh,
terrific.
it's good. It's good to hear.
yeah, he's great.
Boy. We've got about 7 minutes left.
Oh my.
So Andy, just to summarize, you will write a letter to the people who live at 7 Pole Bridge Road and do oak tree molding to thank them for their contribution.
I
Let
will.
them know we've already planted grasses and daylilies and 160 bulbs. So if you could just let them know that we're working on that bank, and they should come back in the spring and see the fruits of their contribution. Okay. And I will send off that letter to Jean. We will not have a meeting in December. We will have a meeting in January, at which time we will maybe set aside a sum of money for mowing as well, so that we can tell the companies, you know, we can spend $500 on mowing between this month and this month. Do you want it? And then we can say to the arborist, you know, we've got this amount of money. And how are we going to spend it this year? And what are we going to do next year? I mean, you read the articles about climate change suggesting that there are certain trees which are not going to survive in Connecticut, and other trees should be put in to replace them. We probably need a long-term plan for the whole Arboretum, not just taking it, dead tree by dead tree, but a plan for substitutions and things. So those are my thoughts.
And Philippa, you're going to talk to Sprucedale, Paul over there about that?
I'll go and talk with Paul, about that tree. Yeah.
If it can be
And you're
planted?
saying that he could, because he was going to plant it. He planted it originally and was going to replace it. So I'll go and talk to him and ask him if he's planning on replacing it this fall. And we want the same kind of tree, right?
Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
No. And I will send an email to Mitch saying just one more mowing before the end of the year. He can decide when to do it.
Super.
Okay.
Jesse, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I know Jean can tell me, but do you know offhand the treasurer's name at the town hall?
Karen.
Yes, Karen
Karen?
Fitzpatrick, and I can send you her, and it's then Diane Converse, but I can forward you their emails if you want.
Thank you.
And I looked up the check, but I can't read the handwriting, it's written in script for, the sign for the donation.
Okay.
But maybe Karen, I doubt the envelope is saved, but I don't know, maybe they made a note of it somewhere. Yeah.
We'll see. And, I'm not so opposed. I mean, I think she knows who I am, and I think she thinks that I know who she is and I remember her. I vaguely remember her. So if it's 7 Polebridge, that's the road right next to me. I could take a ride over there. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. And then
Do some stalking.
yeah, it's my favorite.
Great ideas, Dad. Thanks.
My favorite thing to do. I'll go now. Take my
I'll
binoculars.
meet you over there.
Oh.
Talk her up. Maybe it can be an annual donation for our arborist fund.
Well,
There you
that's
go.
it. You just cultivate these relationships,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful.
Yes.
Good for them. I thought that was so cool when she called.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask her name. Sorry.
Okay. Any other business?
Nope.
All
Phil,
set?
I just wanted to ask you one thing. Did you have the information that you needed from the last Green Valley?
I did. Thank you. I sent
Okay.
it all in. It went off on time. I haven't heard
Okay.
from them. I just mailed it off.
All right,
With
great.
my summer volunteer hours and a summary of what we do there.
Okay, just want to make sure you're all set for that.
Hopefully it was all set. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And so I will supervise Monday afternoon, a work session. If you have any
So
free time, come on, Jeff.
I'll reply to it right now that you can do it.
Sure.
And then I'll ask her to contact you time-wise and that sort of thing.
Right.
Okay?
And let me know if there's going to be more than 10 showing up, because buying donuts for only 10 and then 30 show up, it's a little short on donuts.
Yeah,
And they like those donuts. Boy, we
we
ended-
definitely do.
Always buy extra donuts. They never go to waste.
No, they don't.
They love them. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.